However, something tells me Waybo are going to cause a nice little upset, and it's a good first map to start on with Club. Let's see how they come out on the back of this one. Of course, it is a best of 3 like all our other games here at SI, and this is Waybo's map pick. They are 8-2 on it over the last 6 months.
One thing I will say, and there's not really numbers or anything to back this up, but what I will say, and I always say this, is that teams, all teams, will generally have a bit of a bad day at a tournament, through a tournament. You look at anybody who's won a tournament, and generally there will be a match during that tournament. The only one I can think of as an exception was W7M in Copenhagen. Nobody got near them through the entire tournament, if I remember rightly. I'm pretty sure it was Copenhagen. Normally there'll be an off day somewhere.
Yeah.
Weibo, I don't feel like I've had an off day yet. I'm not saying that they're definitely going to today, but what I'm saying is, at some point, it's unusual for teams to just continue winning every single day. And it's sometimes about kind of having that off day at the right time. You know, if you look at you look at the big G2 win, they dropped down to the lower bracket. They had their off day and then they went on a run through. You know, you look at it was the same with many winners of tournaments have gone through that process of having a bit of an off day. So hopefully today is not the day for Weibo, and they continue putting in solid performances as we have seen. So far, 4 games, 4 wins. And, you know, Furia, it's the next big challenge.
Where I think a lot of the success from Weibo has come this week, and it's certainly not to demean Reaps here because he is one of our top-rated players at the competition. He's played lights out, but eyes turn towards the best players over the last 6 months of this lineup, which is Hoven and Ape. Those two have been lights out. And in the series that we cast the other day, they both played brilliantly. Now, I thought maybe we might see a ban coming towards Hoven and his Belusi. Absolutely loves playing it, but in this round at least, he's on towards the back. And Speakeasy is going to slam her to start things out, Tim. Not often that you think you're going to say that line, is it?
Well, that's how you kick things off against Furia. Get up in their faces. Look, Heretics showed it earlier. This team can be susceptible to losing rounds when you get up in their face. Yep. If they want to go for a 3v3 gunfight, get into it with them. They want to get into it. And Heretics did that and had some really good results. And I think Waybo are the sort of team to take that lesson and think, we're going to come in here just like that. We're not showing you respect. We're not showing you any fear. We're going to come in and go for the gunfights. They've just got the opener. They've taken out the IQ as well, which is going to protect some of those electronics, hopefully, for them. And it's a great start.
For me, and I mean this in the nicest way towards Heretics, it feels like Furia are having 2 very similar games on the day, but this is the evolved form of Heretics. A lot of these players have played at international events for a while now. They know the field. They've got themselves grounded in, whereas for Heretics, it's their first time as a Tier 2 team. Does it strictly mean that Weibo are better than Heretics? I'd say on the day, yes, but of course you never know what happens coming to a game. One thing is for sure, this ain't quite going to be as straightforward as what it was for Furia earlier on against Heretics. Now, all the focus is coming onto the verticals inside of the kitchen hall, where you come to expect this one by now. They pump their way through, and I was going to say, they're going to try and look for the hatch, but Hoven, casual as anything, Tim. He's just sat off in blue. Someone tells him, yep, pull the C4 now, and he's like, yep, no problem, boss, you got it. And they found themselves a kill. JV getting one back. This is the real fear I have, Tim. We saw how many times earlier on today, both JV and KZ would just find a 2K or a 3K out of nowhere, and suddenly, any advantage that Heretics had was lost.
Yeah, they've been doing it for years. You know, you can never really think that a round is over until that number pops up on the scoreboard against this Furia lineup, especially today. Look, you know, they're always good. We've seen some solid performances from them again here at SR26, but today against Heretics, they just felt a little bit different, like they've taken it up a notch. So let's see whether they can deliver that same sort of energy against Waybo. Turd manages to pick up for Leapox. That's going to be Speakeasy in behind that shield, just taking down JV as well. It looks like the first round should be done and dusted for Waybo here, really. 1 versus 4. It's KZ. He's going to get himself to a little bit of safety out in Oil Pit before he hits the reload and just heads his way back in.
Ooh, could be done towards Turd there for a second. However, like you say, Tim, there's 4 players to get through and nowhere near enough time. Turd finally rewarded for his aggression, collects the kill, and a fantastic first round coming out there. Dare I say, Tim, Weibo certainly putting the money where the mouth is and putting Furia to task.
The focus of the desk from Lax, of course, was around that history, you know, that Weibo are playing into. They're the 3rd APAC team to come through in SI, #1 spot in their group, and now it's about proving that they can go on and go further. than other teams have done in the past. That will be, you know, it will put a weight of expectation on the shoulders of these players. You know, it's a tight-knit region. They'll be well aware of all those previous achievements and accomplishments, the big player names that goes along with them. And they will be very, very keen to put themselves in and amongst. I mean, I think their names are already going to be spoken up in those kind of echelons, up in those kinds of discussions. But now, you know, the more work they can do, the better. They get the win here. They're in the venue. That's absolutely massive. It's always a bit of a threshold. Always feels like a bit of a, you know, a line in the sand, really, for the APAC teams. Get yourself onto that live stage. Get yourself, you know, with those kind of neutral fans getting in behind you. You just never know what might happen.
100%.
The case for Waybo.
We've seen runs like that before from APAC teams when they get themselves into the venue. You know, Scars, I think back to a good few majors ago now. You know, the whole crowd was behind them and wanting to see them deliver. Because it has been a long time since we've seen them near that top end. You heard the guy speaking about Fnatic over on the desk. Of course, Norengo made it to the semis at Six Invitational 2019. The format was different back then, so there's not really a comparable thing here. But if Weibo can win this and go on and win their next game, I think you can't really say that that isn't a top-performing finish because they'll be in the final.
I guarantee if Weibo get to the venue, they will have a huge crowd presence there.
100%.
Unless they're against an EU team, and even then,
against Falcons,
maybe not. Even some of the EU teams, I guarantee there will be a big backing in the venue for Weibo should they be able to get there. But
if I'm not Castington, I'll be there screaming.
Me too. Philippos manages to pick up Hoven. That's a good response from Furia. Coming out here in round 2, managing to get that opener, taking down Hoven on his beloved Malusi. He plays a lot of Malusi, and the Banshees will still be out there, but we saw the impact Hoven had in the last round, and that's a good step for Furia.
Absolutely, and of course the other thermite banned away on this map earlier on, it is available here. In case you've been sleeping under a rock, he now has 3 exothermic charges. So on a map like Clubhouse where you've got to open up Jacuzzi, open up the single wall in towards construction and the main breach, well, he can do it all by himself now, which means you've got that extra slot free that would normally go towards something like an ace. Of course, here it's banned away, so a little bit less so. Bring some hard breach gadgets instead, and then use that extra 5th spot for another operator to make your attack that a little bit more deadly.
Ape just got caught out there. He was trying to get aggressive on the Jacuzzi breach at the other side of the map. KZ was just stood waiting for him, open arms, and picked up a nice, easy kill. And so that leaves them now in a 5 versus 3. Nader's gone running into site here, thinking about putting that diffuser down, but he's not going to be able to. As Speakeasy manages to pick up the kill, KZ does get the instant trade, but the damage is still kind of done. Bodies keep on falling for Waybo though, and it's not looking good. 1v4 Des.
It's great too. He wanted to reach there a second ago, just on construction door as well. He did actually win the 1v1 onto the window player, but Philippos, just like clockwork with these guys, pushes in from gold and gets himself the kill onto Reaps. And again, this is what we saw coming out of these guys earlier on today. They were so good at making 3v1s and 2v1s. Every time you saw a player die to him, we just saw countless like gunshot lines ripping across the screen. And it was a little bit like, how do you deal with that pressure? Well, as you've just seen, when they've got the man advantage, Tim, it's very hard to wrench it away from them.
Yeah, this is it. They're just looking like, you know, they're sort of hunting in a pack, almost like piranha or something. You know, they get the victim in their sights, and then there's 3 or 4 of them just all taking nibbles and bites at them and making it super difficult for those enemy players to keep themselves alive. But
bomb located
if we look at it, just to look a little bit ahead at this one in terms of the map bans, I'd be very concerned about that second map. Lair is a map that Furia are phenomenal on. We know that. If we look at their recent record on there, I think there's 1 loss. It's 8-1, their current record.
Terrifying, yeah.
It is terrifying. So, not to pile the pressure on Waybo, but they really need a result here on Clubhouse. I feel like it's, you know, if Waybo are going to win it, it's going to be 2-1 and they win on Cafe.
Yeah, I do agree, Tim. I do agree. Cafe would be great because it's a really highly preferred map by both teams, so that'll just be a straight shootout for
I would love to see that.
Now, they've just hidden Speakeasy away, so our observer, of course, pointing out to you while we were yappering on. Speakeasy was hidden away inside a bathroom there, out towards your main bedroom, and has now got the ability to move around and drop down those mirror windows. One which I believe he placed out towards the west. You've now got Weeps. You got Reaps sat on, looking out towards Jacuzzi.
He's not weeping yet.
He ain't weeping yet. He could be later, Tim. We'll find out. But he's sat on the mirror window watching the Jacuzzi wall, and then you've got Speakeasy who sat, of course, on towards site itself. Now, this is cool because since they've hidden it away, they can get rid of one of those hard breach charges, Tim. They may even fail to get the wall open here as a result.
There's a bit of me just wondering there whether if he positioned it just right, Maybe he could have got both, but I'm asking for too much.
They've got 6. They brought 6
be all right
hard
then.
breach charges, Tim. They know what they wanted to get done in the round. They brought the right tools for the job. It's a good thing as well. Otherwise, that wall probably does stay tightened up.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, look, they haven't got clean access in there. It's not like a thermite breach or something, but it doesn't matter. All they want is the lines of sight, because what it's done is it prevents anybody from Waybo playing inside of CCTV. That's the important part. So now they've created this divide. You've got defenders in cash, you've got Turd.
Easy.
You had Turd on catwalk, and so you've created this big divide. And what you're trying to do on this site is you're creating a big safe space. So you've got the angle that we've just seen there from JV92. He's going to watch towards cash door. Nobody can now push across that threshold, so you can think about going in and getting the diffuser down. Ape has gone underneath on the Solis though, so they need to be aware of Ape, but there we go, they've taken him out.
Yeah, this has been pretty rough. Even with them struggling to get that wall open to begin with, they've absolutely flooded over the side of Waybo here. Still 75 seconds to play with, and I imagine, Tim, they'll look to go for the kill. Indeed they do. JV pushes on forward, and it's a flawless round. Up they go to 2-1.
Yeah, great start from Furia.
You know what? I also learned during all that. You know, it was a good few years ago now. Was it SI 2020 where we came across laser gates for the first time?
I don't know. I get asked often where it came about, and I can never remember.
I don't know if it must have been after
you
SI
say
2020.
Oregon. I feel like Chalet sometimes, but no, I think you're right.
What do you mean Oregon? No, it was on Chalet.
Was it Chalet?
It was 100%. It was on Chalet. Yeah. No, mate, I've watched that clip many a time. I know it was Chalet.
You should know when.
But the one that you said in that round that really got me was safe space. That's the new. Oh, it really tickled me. I hold on to that one. I had to let you know afterwards. However, let's look at this again. Furia, as you've seen, are at 2-1. Waybo, they've got some work to do, Tim. Fair to say that Furia warmed up very, very quickly against Heretics earlier on. They did bounce back a little bit, but they just ran away with things very shortly after, Tim.
Yeah, Weibo, you know, being honest, a little bit off the pace so far in terms of keeping up with Furia. That's what you've got to remember. When I say they're off the pace, are they off the pace of an average game of Siege? No, they're not. They'd be absolutely fine. Are they off the pace against absolute full throttle Furia? Yeah, as many people would be. And they need to get a control on this. The reason I'm saying this, I understand you might be looking at it thinking, it's 3 rounds this, it's just 3, you know, it's not a... No, it's not. But believe me, with a team like Furia and how we saw them earlier against Heretics and how they're continuing to look now, that 2-1 in the blink of an eye will be 5-1. And so you've got to get a grip on it now. Waybo can't allow this to continue snowballing, because otherwise Furia will be 5-1, heading onto the defense, and it'll be over before you know it. So they really do need to get themselves into this one. Entry would be a big part of that, I think. Start getting those entry kills, getting yourself the man advantage. It's not a guarantee against this side, but it will help you significantly.
So you're saying Clubhouse isn't their safe space, Tim?
It didn't look like it in the last couple of rounds.
No, it did not. And you're speaking of entry, that has been the way that every round has gone. Whoever finds the entry tends to go on and win the round, and Turd has died in exactly the same space as last round. It turns into a second kill, Tim. Inside 40 seconds, Furia are 5 versus 3.
Yeah, and this is the thing, Furia are so good in this position. If they smell blood in the water, there is absolutely no mercy from them. They won't back off the drones, they won't back off taking map control, they will still keep ticking boxes, doing everything, and they'll just grind you down, and as soon as they see an opportunity to push somebody 3v1, they will do. This is what Waybo have to do. They've got to trade, they've got to fight back. Speakeasy with a big double. They're going to need these big hero moments in the rounds to keep themselves in some of these. 3 versus 3, great response. Capitao gone, that is a big moment.
Here we go, they're pushing in deep there as well. JV being tagged out by these trip mines is certainly not going to help too much, but he lines up and finds the head of Ovid on his push on forward. He's being flanked from 2 sides. A C4 from Reach is going to find his man down to a 2v2. So good recovery efforts for Tim. There's still half the round to play here. There is so much time. Casey getting rid of Reach. Speakeasy has done all the work this round, Tim, and he'd have to do a hell of a lot more. Casey with the final couple, and Furia move ahead. Dare I say, it feels like the discipline in these early rounds is slipping away a little bit from Waybo, Tim. They are taking these gunfights, but they're just ready for everything that comes at them, Furia are.
Is it just me that feels like Furia have got about 7 players in every round?
What's happening is very simple. You're trying to win the shit in the most difficult way. Like on this 2v2, you said, bro, I got you. Bro, you just stay, not move, he kill both.
No, I got naded.
You know? Yeah, okay, so forget this. But what I'm saying is, in the start of the round, you guys know what to do, huh? You guys know how they're gonna play. and still we have no refrag, you know, no team play, no coordination. Next time, bro, they start to come garage. Let's move together.
Yeah, guys,
Up,
we need to
play
react.
with third, you know, yeah, we need to react fast, guys.
Yeah.
The only thing, the only problem we have is you guys are trying to win the shit in the most difficult way, you know, not playing together. So we fix this and let's win these 2 rounds, guys.
Let's go, guys. I don't care
Let's
if
go,
it's 1
guys.
and
Let's
3,
go.
guys. We can't
Let's
fucking
guys.
do
Round by
this.
round, guys.
Let's go.
Let's go, guys. Let's go. 2 more rounds.
Let's go, guys.
Come
Go
on,
back
kid.
to this fucking Denari one.
Go on putting it far more elegantly than I could ever could as well. I was speaking about the discipline that was lacking in the early round. It's largely just said there, we're swinging alone, we're going for ones, we're paying the price.
And you can see it, you know, there's a number of kills coming in here where there's no response from Waybo. You know, if you sat home thinking, well, you know, how do I see that? How do I watch that? How do I see if they've improved that? One thing that you'll see is trades. When somebody dies, there'll be a return kill comes in. You're in a position to be able to assist your teammate. You're not doing things in ones. You're not just taking those fights on their own. So definitely something that can improve for Waybo. But yeah, you know, as I jokingly said before we went into that, so many rounds with Fury, it feels like they must have 7 or 8 players because there was Speakeasy killed 2 at the beginning there, and then there's all this chaos and all this round, and you're looking, it's 2v3, and you're like, what? Like, I'm sure you've had a bunch of players killed, and still, and it just shows how much value and ability there is in each individual player, because, you know, they'll still just turn around, and it feels like they are everywhere in the map. So Furia, they are looking electric today.
They are, Tim, and that is
really
going to be part of the challenge, but I wouldn't say it's unsavable on the side of Waybo. You know, as Gohan stepped in and we heard him speak, yeah, it's not like it's a major disaster. We've just got to recover and tighten up a few things in the early round, and we might find ourselves coming out just that little bit better. And sure enough, there's no one trying to go crazy on the early spawn peaks or being aggressive up on the top floor here. We are playing a little bit more defensive in this round, Tim, and I don't blame them for it. Tighten things up here, because if you find yourself going down 4-1, or dare I even say 5-1 come the end of the half, it already feels like it's over.
Yeah, I'd agree. There's no roam whatsoever from Waybo. If you look bottom right of your screen, you can see all of the positions of the players, and there's a B next to all of their names for the basement. So they're all downstairs at the minute. Furia, they've got to recognise that to begin with. I think they're reasonably comfortable in that, because JV's already looking towards the tunnel, and off your screen, Herds is moving down main stairs as well. So I think they're pretty comfortable that top floor is available for them, and that they can move in and start thinking about hatches. They're starting to take that mid floor now. So Furia, they are not messing about. Within a minute, they're already getting active inside of the map and taking that control.
They've got the right idea. They know that Reaps has pushed quite deep up through dirt here, and he's getting a little bit restless, Tim, and almost loses his life for it. This is where patience is key. It is a virtue sometimes, Tim. I think Reaps reminding us all of exactly why. Still, though, doesn't lose his life, so all 3 smokes still remain. He can dig back in towards sight with the rest of his team, or at least hold a little closer to the rest of his team rather than pushing up so aggressively.
Yeah, this is good stuff from Furia as well. JV gets himself inside a kitchen. They're going to see an exothermic just impacted away there, so he now needs to be careful as well.
They can keep this closed.
Yeah, exactly that. It's going to just needs to be careful. That's exactly what he needs to be careful of. He's concerned about nitros. He's concerned about impact nades. He's concerned about bullets. There's all sort of things that could rain up through those floorboards to damage him. That is going to open the kitchen hatch, and Furia now getting themselves in a position to think about and execute.
There's a couple of times throughout this half that we've seen Waybo come up with some cool ideas on how to deny this stuff. It's looking really, really interesting. Now, here we go. Potentially, with the Candelas come flying on through onto these trips, won't disable all of them is the main frustration, I imagine, here, Tim. They managed to roll it on just on through. He'll have to drop in here and take the damage at least for a moment, or at least pop them out in another way. But all he's doing is making room for his team, Tim. In they go.
Nade's going to go for the drop, and there's a fight elsewhere. Ape picks up JV92, but Nade has got in a position to put the diffuser down. Herds was coming down blue tunnel, can now challenge from this side. The question is, are they aware of his position? They're going straight onto the diffuser, and I think they're going to get this Waybo. Great decision.
Yeah, absolutely are. Yeah, he hasn't got time to get to this one. A good defensive table coming on now. It was quite funny because for a second, Ape actually ran past Nade. I think he thought he was planting deeper inside of Arsenal. Then he hears the diffuser go off and he's like, oh, he's behind me. Turns around and gets the kill. Thank God. Otherwise, that could have been calamitous. Most importantly, it's a second round on the board.
Yes, Waybo definitely needed that. Like I say, you got to stop the rot. You can't allow Furia to start running away with this one. A 3-3 half, actually, very good for Waybo. No problem with that at all. I still think they've kind of got it stacked up against them a little bit in the second half, given that Furia have got 3 attacks. you have to look at Furia on defense and say, you know, there's a good chance they're going to be good for 4 rounds. So not ideal, but I think if Waybo can at least lock this out 3-3, then who knows? You know, they can get in, they can start playing their game style. I think attack suits Waybo a little bit more. They've been the best attacking team that we've seen in the tournament so far to date, and they can play with a bit more freedom, a bit more aggression. They can take the fight to Furia. So I don't think it's the end of the world for them. 3-3, I think is essential, but okay.
I agree. It won't feel great, but by the same token, Weibo, as I said, are the best attacking team we have at the tournament, Tim. 63% attacking win rate, 63% defender win rate. Perfectly balanced, as all things should be. So do I favour them coming onto the attacking side? I don't think I'd say favour, but do I not think it able for them to be able to get at least 3 rounds, send us towards OT? Absolutely not. I'd be shocked if they win 4, truthfully. I don't think Furia will let them do that, but they can definitely give themselves a bit of a better chance here. This is looking a little bit cheeky. Speaky actually hits him there as well, Tim, and it scares Herds off. Away he drops. I love that.
Yeah, he thinks I'm having absolutely no more of that. Thank you very much. And he's going to relocate and make sure he's not giving up that entry death. So Waybo looking pretty comfortable at the minute. Speakeasy and Turd are still holding down the cash and CCTV side. Furia have opened CCTV wall, but they're not really doing too much more work towards that side. They've opened construction wall now as well to try and prevent kind of the cut off the rotation back to site. But Speakeasy's aware that there's no pressure because he's able to stand in CCTV, so he knows nobody's pushing this side. They can't take for granted that they can use the South Balcony at the minute, can't Furia?
I thought for a second I was seeing another G2 moment as Herds dropped as that exothermic was going off, but I had enough time to get away. Now that Jacuzzi's opened up, that's where the pressure's going to start building from. You've got Felipox looking at Logi as smokes come on forwards. They've got to start their march on 40. It's but there's question marks on exactly where it is that they're pushing from. Intercepts 1. In front of us here is KZ working his way down main stairs. Nade also moving on through. 2 kills coming the way for Furia. This is what they needed to see, Tim. Ape getting at least 1 back, but they need more. What's going on there, Tim? KZ's turned it into a 2K. Ape was looking completely the wrong way, sprinting off towards the bathroom. And that may be enough for Furia to get a 4-2 half.
Felipox is going to be putting the diffuser down. I think it's academic at this point. I don't think it really matters, to be honest. Turd manages to pick up 1, but he is low health. It was a matter of time. Nade manages to close it out. The plant was successful in the midst of all that, but what an absolute bloodbath in the middle of that round. So what happened was Furia rushed in from the breach. I think it was KZ down across the top of main stairs, but at the same time, Felipox gets into logistics and starts pushing from that side through the rotate, and there's just kills going down everywhere. But ultimately, Furia were able to come out on top of it. 4-2, they finished that first half before. Moving on to the defense, I think the Brazilians are going to be very happy with the way that one has started.
We might just see like-for-like bans here as well, Tim. We had the Kaid and the Bandit taken out in that first half. No, okay, it's the second ones that change over. And the Hibana is left open, interestingly. Now, we spoke earlier on about the Thermite bans that came through in Furia's game against Heretics. They're sticking with that script because they know just how effective it can be. It's why they ran the Thermite in all but 1 round in that first half. Have to see how Waybo get on without that operator on side. Of course, Savannah can still do a lot, but I'd argue 3x of Thermix. Nothing really stacks up to them.
No, they don't. I think that taking the Azami way is a great shout. JV92 plays a mean Azami up on Catwalk. We've seen it today already. We've seen it in the past. So taking away the Azami, opening Catwalk up for yourself a little bit possibly. Great idea from Waybo. Also makes this site, Church and Arsenal, a little bit easier to attack onto as well. Azami super powerful in that corner of Arsenal near Dirt Tunnel that we see so often barricaded up, turned into a little bit of a makeshift fortress in that corner with those keepers. So that should remove or alleviate a couple of problems for Waybo at least. We will see how this attack goes. They've got a Sense on side, they've got a Blackbeard, a Dokubi, a Deimos. This is a hell of an attacking lineup, Des.
It is, yeah, and they changed away from what their initial plan was, with a couple of operators swapped out here, but the ones they've got, I think, are pretty solid. Like, if you could pick a bread and butter, like, execute-focused lineup, this probably would be it, especially on Clubhouse. Hibana spoke about a lot. Loads of hatches to work your way through, perfect. Sens, of course, we know, excellent for the execute itself. Even a Warden can't save you. Blackbeard is one of the most picked operators because most shields get banned away. And then I spoke to Death about Dokubi and Deimos as a pairing. Very, very good for forcing roamers away. And knowing the aggression that we've seen from Furia throughout the group stage, Tim, and earlier on today, I don't blame them at all for trying to use this operator to shut them down and get them back towards site.
Going to see JV will be tracked for the time being on the score post. He's up on the top floor. It's going to be down to Ape to feed that information back into his team. Sees he sees himself joined by KZ up on that top floor as well. Waybo are going to be opening up Jacuzzi, so they are going to have to go for the full map clearance, really.
Oh, come on
it's
now.
not going to start off fantastically well. KZ does get bullied, though. Hoven there for the trade. The nade was well placed, and he was struggling to get himself out of trouble. JV92 is... Oh, no, he's actually got himself back to sight as well.
Oh!
Beautiful from Hoven. If you didn't know that angle existed, go and give it a try in ranked. If you open up the hatch, you can see just over the wall onto main stairs. Herd's taken down. 4 versus 3.
It was a great read as well, because that information must have flowed so fast.
Yep.
Because Hertz first came running up the main stairs to try and assist KZ to try and get a couple of kills at the back of it. And the read must have come in. Okay, he was on main stairs. Fair chance he's still there on the lower level, ready to take out a drone. Just go for it. And look at what it led to. Wonderful bit of coordination and communication from Waybo as Reaps finds nade. A 4v2, Tim. This is looking like a great position for Waybo to be in.
Yeah, it really does. This is exactly the start that needed for Epox, however. Do you see what I mean? It feels like they've done so much killing Waybo, and it's 2 versus 3.
Yeah.
It just feels like you can never get this huge gulf between your team and Furia. It's an absolute night. It must be a nightmare to play against. Philippox got that one, dropped himself back to site, so it's him and JV trying to hold things down. One in Church, one in Arsenal, so they're just spreading themselves across the entire site. Weibo do have a bit of time here, 35 seconds. They can't take forever, but they can get a good idea of where everybody is. They've no tracks left for Ape, so that utility is gone. They need to go and try and find that first kill.
They do. They know where these two players are. They know that there's one on Church Door. They know that there's one sat just on Blue Door as well. They have to be able to move as a team off this team. Like you say, there's a real lack of utility, so it's all about the guns. They've got the light screens they can still run in with, and JV's got another. This is looking bad, Tim. It's down to a 1v1. Hoven's got to go absolutely massive here. Steps in, notices behind the box. It's a 1v1 though, Tim, and JV's down low. Hoven hits the shot, and Waybo take the round, but my God, did Furia make that one hard?
I'm not sure my heart can take much more of this. There's 1v1 going to the pistol. JV just can't get it done. Well held by Waybo. They put their first attack on the board. That was what they needed. That was the round from me. Get round 7, send a message to Furia. Yep, you might have 4-2, you might be on the defense, but this map isn't yours yet. And I love that from Waybo, continuing that great attacking streak that they've had at SI26 to continue getting some rounds. This was great pressure onto KZ. I know they lost, the opening kill onto Speakeasy initially, but it was just great pressure. And then the follow-up with the second kill onto Hurge just really set them up for the round.
It was one of those rounds that it's just a war from start through to finish, and it leaves us right down to a closing 1v1 to settle the winner. As I've said, JV and KZ have had unbelievable performances already today. That is continuing here on the other side. Still really waiting to see the key players on Weibo waking up. Reach currently at 3 and 5, Arpace 3 and 6, Hoven at 5 and 5. But the most important thing, Tim, is the score at the top of your screen, and Weibo are still within striking distance. They are only one behind. Speakeasy rolling back the years here, jumping on towards the Monty. Really takes us back to 2020 back when he was on Giants, Tim, and that was his go-to. And I tell you what, Tim, I was speaking about Reeves, just deletes the Soulless there at round start.
I think it's fair to say he's woken up, Des. He's gone in there and got himself a big opener, and who better than the Soulless? This is literally the perfect Soulless site. Cash and CCTV, it is all destructible. You can play in stock, you can play in lounge, you can disrupt a plant anywhere, so long as you can keep yourself alive. And KZ
Key if there, Tim.
Exactly that, and KZ has failed to do so. Really big pickup for Waybo. 5 versus 4 early in the round. Speakeasy can start bullying Catwalk now. It'll be JV. It's always JV up on the Catwalk. He's got the Wamai because the Azami's banned out. This is really doable for the attackers.
Also, of course, keep an eye on the Maestro that we spoke about a little bit from a couple of days ago. They have led towards it and not tried to hide it away. I was watching in the prep phase, would he try and hide it away somewhere? And the answer was no. It has got Reaps across on towards the Brava, of course, to try and steal those away. And he has got one thing hacked out. Don't know if it's a Maestro cam or not, but I saw at least 2 go down inside of Cash Tim, so we've got to be really careful of that. Ape, a man that I also said was being quiet, Tim. It's like they're listening to us. Get themselves a couple of kills, both Reaps and Ape now in this round getting involved. And Speakeasy is starting his march up through Garage. Down goes JV. Waybo making this look easy.
Yeah, this is great from the APAC team. Absolutely love what we're seeing. They are in a position to put the diffuser down. I'd like to see them do that. There's no real reason not to. You know, they might be a little bit concerned about a Nitro, but that's just come out. So, you know, there's one in the hands of Herds, but they've got 5 players. They can just have somebody down in lounge. For me, Waybo, get one downstairs, get the diffuser down.
Herds almost wants this for an ego challenge onto Reaps. He was talking a little bit of smack during the tech timeout earlier on. He really wants this win. But if Reaps can hold him here and leave his teammate in a 1 versus 4, that's completely fine by the side of Waybo. You've got Nade downstairs with the C4 in hand, I believe. In fact, no, he used it earlier on. It's only in Herds' back pocket. So he's in a bit of a dangerous spot here. Tim has managed to get down and get rid of 1, but there's a trade to be secured. And Reaps, he wins out that 1v1 against Herds. They're warming into it, Tim.
Yeah, well played from Waybo. They chose to go for the kills. There was an opportunity to get the diffuser down as well. 5v2, CCTV Cash. You know, I think they were a little bit concerned about Nitros or other elements, but it definitely could have been handled and dealt with. Doesn't really matter. Outcome is the same. They choose to go for the kills. The call was made, and the round was successfully won. 4-4. We sit on the scoreboard now, and Furia losing back-to-back rounds. Time to maybe go back to the drawing board for them. It's going to be over to gym and bedroom.
If they lose this site as well, Tim, that'll be a 3-0 start for Waybo in the half, and they'll have won every single site. Fury won't know what to do with themselves. Yeah, they won the first 3 rounds 2-1, and obviously if Fury win this one, we have a mirrored result on the other side, but it's going to feel very, very concerning if they lose it. No doubt going to be an extension out towards Cash and CC, as you're now seeing on your screen. See it 1,000,001 times, Tim. Always have players out here. Normally it's a shield, which you'll get from Herds, being joined up by the shield of the Clash. And between them both, it can be ridiculously frustrating to try and clear top red in that position. So we'll see exactly how much they commit out there, and Waybo are going to have to find a way through, which probably means a good bit of team aggression at the start of the round. And often what we see is that this round can be decided on the extension alone. It isn't always about what's going on site. You can lose 2 or 3 players out on the extension, and before you know it, round is done.
I spoke about Nade's performances on Clash earlier on. We've seen, you know, some really great play from him using that operator. He's going to be bringing it along again this time, and he will be helping out over, I would imagine, top red. Nade usually plays the Clash on this hold. So we'll keep an eye out there and see how successful he is. He's currently bottom red, but I would imagine, there we go. Thank you very much, Nade. Start moving back up, and he'll be looking to assist. It's usually Herds that's playing in and around Cash, so he'll just be looking to try and buy him as much time as he can.
They're not really bothered with the shield either as well. Probably aware that Reaps rolling on through with the Roteros, or Nades quickly remove it as well. Why bother committing it out there? Put it on site instead and see how things go. Speakeasy now getting himself inside of Cash and CC itself and forcing the players back. With that control, they can now afford to put players on the south balcony and start asking questions, or inside of construction, in towards the site itself. It's Hoven that's currently sat in that position on the Grim, just waiting for the kind of go sign from his team to know what's going to happen next. But you can see everyone's really starting to gather around, mainly out towards Cash and CC, but that will begin to develop, and I imagine some pressure will come in towards Logi very shortly.
Waybo just allowing for the time that they've got in the middle of the round here to get the drones back in. I like what they've done here. We've gone in, we've claimed ground, that's ours. We now set up shop again. We go through the same process, we rinse and repeat, and then we push forward once we know exactly what we're playing into. Nade is a key factor here. He's just playing on that rotate from construction through into logistics. He will now get a little bit more aggressive and push forward onto the door again, and he's just backing up Waybo.
They want
be
to
careful. Exactly that. They just don't want to waste too much time. But Speakeasy get things underway with a kill on to JV. Ape tries to go in through Jacuzzi. Doesn't get away with it as Felipox takes him down. 3 versus 4.
I think it's Speakeasy really wants to go a bit more aggressive here and push in towards Felipox inside the bathroom. He's got Reaps joining him in. Out on the flank though, we've seen this one before, Tim. It's Herds. Always off by himself, but always finding the kills necessary. Speakeasy all alone, blinded out by the FNAT. Almost biting off a little bit more than they could chew there, Waybo, and trying to go deep and collect a couple of players around main stairs. It did not work out. And that's that 2-1 quarter that we saw back at the start of the game as well.
Yeah, as you say, I think, maybe just stretching themselves a little bit thin there. They didn't ever really deal with the cash side. So what that meant was that you had Nade and Herds kind of unaccounted for and able to flex their position and move about. And one of the kills came in from there at the end of things. And so it also then left you kind of short-handed to be dealing on the other side with players like Felipox and creating that space in gym. Not ideal on the attack from Waybo that time. Furia keep their lead, but only just. It's one round, it's 5-4, and this one continues to rumble on Clubhouse. Overtime, honestly, would not surprise me in the slightest here.
Well, we shall see. Now that those bans come on through. Capital taken away. I'd say not really the end of the world because we haven't seen that. In fact, we saw it brought once in round 2, and that was about it. And even then, its use a case in that round wasn't massive, so not too worried about that. On the other side, the clash being taken away, I feel is quite notable. It's the only operator they've had in a round where they've won Furia, and so Weibo are looking at, okay, here's the main thing that they've won with. What can we do to get rid of it? Just ban it. Easy peasy.
Yeah, it just removes a headache, doesn't it? It just removes a problem. Like I said, Nade has put in some real rounds, some real performances on that clash. So, yeah, get rid of it. And then you don't need to think too much about it. So, 5-4 on the scoreboard as we head into what will be our final 3 rounds. We might only get 2 of them if Furia get them back-to-back. But I've got a feeling that there's going to be a little bit more of a twist in this tale than you might expect. So don't go anywhere. Now then, KZ, Herds, both. Herds is actually going to be barricaded in pretty much. He's got the one door escape through to pool table. But other than that, he's locked in for a bit of strip. He's going to keep himself over that backside, I think, to try and keep himself kind of off the radar. And then he can maybe have that mid to late round flank that we see into bar.
Absolutely. It's, again, the execute style setup coming out from Waybo minus the Dockerby this time as well. So really similar in setup, just a little bit different in execution because you're rolling in towards that Grim. Very, very good for hitting the site itself with. I'm probably anticipating this time around that they won't meet as much dip resistance around there, and Furia, for the most part, are down towards site itself. A couple on the first floor, and Felipox, the main one, being a little bit of a bother up here on the Tuberal, but as we know, it's mainly focused on trying to waste time.
I actually like this from Felipox, just changing up his location there. The assumption is often going to be that you'll be up on the catwalk. So by dropping down, he gives himself an opportunity to drop oil pit and return to site, which he has done just in time as well, because he's been targeted out by the Demos. Or, you maybe mix up the angle that you're going to be going into that fight on, but using his auto canister to support himself, smart play from Felipox means all 4 are back. Herds is still out in strip. I'm not sure that he's been picked up yet. He could play a serious spoiler in this round.
They've really got to pray that they've got flank drones on the go to him, because right now no one's actually flicking through them. He could get into a pretty dangerous position. Knows that they want this bar hatch opened up. No one's yet around that spot on the map sniffing through, but Reaps will descend. I swear to God, he's just trying to hunt Reaps down. It's all he really cares about, Tim.
This is all about timing from Herds, realistically. If he holds his position and just plays this patiently, he could easily win this round single-handedly.
Nope.
There we go. Important from Waybo. Good intel game. That's what we wanted to see. You commented they weren't on the drones at that phase of the round. They moved back onto them. But it doesn't necessarily solve the problem, Des, because Herds is still out there. He still exists, and they've now got a minute to deal with him and Sight.
I turn towards Ape for that one. He's got the last trap, well, 2 more traps that he can make use of at some point. Just the one, left. Can track on towards the Bandit, but it's the Warden they've got to track onto instead. Not too sure about that one.
Reaps is just playing inside a kitchen at the minute. He's the big problem here in terms of Herds. Herds can just go out, pick up the Habana inside a kitchen, and he's got a big problem. You see, he can't focus down the hatch because he knows he's got this Bandit playing in behind him. He's just being kind of pulled pillar to post, and as he goes for the drop, KZ picks him up. KZ with a double at the end to close it out, and it's not looking good for Waybo as Furia move on to match point.
Truthfully, this is how I would have expected it to play, would have been the downstairs site being won by Furia. We often talk about it being one of the most defender-sided sites that we have in the entire game. The upstairs sites is where you tend to see a little bit more joy for the attackers. So don't count them out just yet. There's still much they can do to try and turn it around. We'll jump on towards Monty, I imagine, again to try and get that catwalk control. They did kind of stroll their way through last time, Tim, only losing 1 player. It was Reaps getting the opening onto KZ, if you remember, very early in the round. If they can find the same again or just get a little bit of luck on their side, then this could take us up to 6 and 5 before you know it. Maybe we've only got a win, Gym Bedroom, and we're knocking on the doors of overtime.
Yeah, exactly that. It's, it's still very, very doable. It's still very, very doable for Waybo. Don't count them out just yet. but it's not going to be easy either. You know, it seems to get more difficult with each passing round. Also, if we have a look at the entry, Des, we're 11 rounds, or 10 rounds in. There only been 4 entries that have gone in the favour of Waybo. So 6-4, Furia are leading there in terms of entry. It hasn't quite lined up that every round goes with the entry. There was 2 where it was flipped. One where Waybo overturned it, one where Furia overturned it. So we do end up in the same position we are now. But I think the entry is very important for Waybo this round. They need to be getting themselves a man advantage.
They want to sort of garage ball place, so obviously spot when a push starts coming on through. Could be massive for them, of course, in dealing with the Monty as well. If you guys pushing up those stairs and you get a Yokai blast down, shield break comes on through, and JV may be able to walk away with a kill off the back of it. As strong as shields are, Tim, it does feel like it's a dangerous time to be a shield player. We've seen Blackbeards dying all the time this week. It's hard.
Interesting change as well. Of course, the clash was taken away from Nade, so he's brought along the Echo this time. Furia with even more intel then. He's checking what's going on the rooftop. He's going to have an opportunity to deny a plant if needs be. This is the problem. You kind of pick your poison, don't you? You take the clash away from him. He brings the Echo. It's another super powerful operator. Rotero drone is going to be sent in, will be taken out. So still not quite been able to take out the utility on the stairs, but that's a big one. That's 1 Echo drone gone.
Will be able to shoot the drone out here in time? I'm not too sure they will. Up he goes. Maybe gets the second. Nah, it's all right, Ryan, surely. And also naded it out and doesn't pop out the Goyo. That's really impressive. That impact was absolutely spot on. They get rid of 1, and now they get rid of the second, and they've also got rid of JV, Tim. So everything done inside about 90 seconds.
Yeah, that's really good from Waybo. They're working through those problems one at a time, and they've got themselves...
Herds underneath oil, by the way.
Yeah, that's going to be a big play. Again, Herds last time was off in strip. This time he's played down into the basement. He's just going to bide his time. They're going to give him the opportunity, but he misses it. Hoven, still alive, takes a ton of damage, but this will waste some time because, again, Waybo are going to have to pay attention to that.
It's his whole job this game is to just be an absolute nuisance to the side of Weibo, because once again, it's the same as last round when he was out towards strip. They haven't fully cleared him out. And just knowing that he's out there sits in the back of your mind. It's an attention soak away from you that you always have to be mindful of. He will be able to strike at some point throughout this round, but Speakeasy is now asking questions of sight itself.
The other thing that Herds could play for here, he's got himself onto blue stairs. He has 2 impact nades left in pocket, so Weibo need to be aware of that. They've dealt with it. I was going to say, somebody needs to be underneath because otherwise he could deny a plant attempt. 4 versus 3 after an excellent kill from Reaps really starts to clear things out for them. They're just waiting for these toxic babe canisters to burn away at the moment. Philippox has 2 more in pocket though. He can take out a lot of the rest of this round, so instead they've tried to push up red to get aggressive, and it's worked. Hoven 1, Ape 2, Weibo take round 11, and we are getting at least all 12 on Clubhouse.
Absolutely wonderful closing point from Weibo. It's like watching Furia in reverse, Tim. We saw so many... Above he's gone, yeah, well, you've got the mic.
I was having a drink.
I'll just hold mute and talk as well, Tim. I'm sure everyone will still hear me. But again, it was just so well played. They had the 1 player coming in from Logi, pushing in through construction. At the same time, 2 players sprinted up red, as well as Speakeasy walking forward. Everything apart from... everything, including how they dealt with this very early on to JV was wonderful. But the trade being guaranteed by Hoven there, everything was fantastic. A really good execute. And like I said earlier on, it's almost a mirror of what we saw from Furia against Heretics. It is so nice to watch, and you can see why they are our top attacking team at the tournament. 1 more, Tim, and we get OT.
Yeah, the level of organisation on the attack and the teamwork, the interplay between them all is absolutely brilliant to watch, and I'm glad to see that they are able to bring it and deliver it for us in this matchup against Furia. So let's get into round 12. Gym and Bedroom will be the final regulation defence for Furia. Just looking at the lineup, they've got the Valkyrie on side for Herds. So again, playing into that intel, we saw it was the Echo last time. This time it's going to be those black eye cameras. We've also got Philippox on the Frost. Not one that we see too often, but we have had some big moments. It is an operator that Furia bring. We saw Nade, of course, having, I think it was a big 4K with Frost on Fortress the other day. It was at least a 3, if not a 4. It was a really nice round for me. Also disabled the active diffuser.
I love how we're having to debate there. Is it a 3 or a 4? Because it's just such a common thing.
But yeah, so it's not unusual for them to bring Frost. And, you know, you've got that shield, you've got the Frost mats, which do occasionally catch people, given that you've got to be in your ADS ready for those fights at this sort of level, so they're easy to miss.
Absolutely. Well, here we go. It's not quite a Monty, but it's still a shield just marching its way up the stairs here to help try and get some control onto this top floor because they have got to break this extended hold. There's two of them here actually as well with the Grim also coming on through. But look where he is again, Tim. Herds still being an oil rat. Down there waiting for his chance. Will he be able to climb up here? This could be absolutely massive and game ending if he gets it, but they seem somewhat aware, Tim.
I think Hoven might know. Hoven's concerned about Lounge at the minute, if I'm not wrong. He has actually kind of backed out of that door. This is going to be one that develops, and I think it's going to lead to one of them being dead. But if they're not aware of Herds and they just push on into CCTV, I think you're quite right. He climbs up, goes up the stairs, and hits them on the flank. He's just waiting for his opportunity, though, and you just know it's going to come at some point.
This would be such a harsh way to lose the map, but he's got himself up there, Tim. Sees one, but they've already won the gunfight. He's got a KZ on side, Tim. He hasn't got to hit the shots himself. They get two, and this could be what ends the map.
The beauty of that, though, is that it leaves Herds out there on the flank with them not really knowing where he is or being comfortable. If they try South Balcony now, Herds is just going to pop into CCTV, for example. Big problem for Waybo. 5 versus 3, and it is not looking good. Ape wants to get aggressive, moves on into site. He's currently at elbow. Shots are fired towards main stairs. Gives him an idea of the location. A nade is sent in to try and develop a bit of movement. Herds on the flank does get one eventually. KZ with a double to close it out. It's flawless for Furia. They take Clubhouse.
Looking very similar to that Heretics game earlier, Tim, where they came close, but just not quite close enough. Furia, a bit of a different beast today. Every round, they just have a magical answer. There's always a player that's able to pop when they need them most, and they take away the map pick of Waybo. This is going to be hard now for Waybo to recover on the second map.
Yeah, it really is. You know, as we've said, Lair, Furia, they're 8-1, Des.
Well, it's going to be a tough challenge. It is a tall order, but let's see what our Destiny Clubhouse first. Back with you in just a few minutes.
Available now.
welcome back. Furia just barely win map 1, and it comes off of a big explosive attack on the gym bedroom. Now, it's such an easy strat that you guys can do it at home, and I'm going to break it down for you. So first, let's look at what Furia is doing. First, Felipox is going to drop down the Logi hatch, but before that, he throws a Candela. The Candela is going to cause a bait and then a chain reaction. We're going to see Nade drop down connector in assistance of JV92 jumping into connector. Felipox then drops down the hatch, KZ pushes up the main hallway, and Herds right behind him is going to be holding the crossfire. And it works off of that Candela. The chain reaction starts, everybody drops, everybody goes to push. Now the reason why this execute is so strong is because of the coverage that the pushers have from the supportive players. So we see Nade locks down connector, JV92 pushes into master, Felipox drop down, putting pressure onto gold, forcing everybody inside to look at him. KZ walks down the hallway, and Herds is there for support, and he can also flank later in the round. And it goes flawlessly. KZ pushes up, connects with Felipox. They're able to put the pressure again. JV92 walks into master, gets the pick. They've completely forgotten about Herds. Herds walks into the back and is able to get the bathroom kill, and they lock down the site beautifully. And the last remaining Waybo player is all the way in connector, locked down by Nade on the glass, and he had no chance. Now the strat was such a beautiful execute and it was so simple that you guys can do it at home, and if you do it home very well, maybe we'll see you here next SI. We'll have to see if Furia can take a map too, but first we have to go back to the desk.
Obviously, this is a monumental task for Weibo, right? They are going up against absolute god-tier Furia, but there's one player that we're just not seeing in the server that has been so consistent at this event.
Yeah, it's a little unfortunate to see Reaps going 5-9, but I think that really is a true testament in terms of the level and caliber of play that they're experiencing now. When you look at the teams that they played in their groups, they played M80, they played Heretics, they played NIP, they played Furiax. If you look on the side of Furia, they were playing some big, heavy hitters, maybe some teams that weren't punching at the level, but it really just speaks into the aggressive nature that Furia has, is why Reeks wasn't finding that success. He's going against a team that wants to take those gunfights, that wants to bring the fight to you and not allow you to breathe and choke you out. Even in that round that Fox demonstrated, we talk about Clubhouse, you win on your attacks. That was the 4th winning attacking round that put them over. So once they got into that defense, they were able to close out the series strictly because of how flawless that attack was.
Yeah, to contextualize it, Reaps, I think, was coming into today 6th overall at this event.
He's been phenomenal.
The last 3 players directly after him are all Furia players. He is not going up against one individual player. He's going up against a team of gunners. And right now, to be honest, Weibo, they still hold it, right? 7-4, 7-5. I think it was 7-5 in the end there. That is the kind of performance that still puts you in the right trajectory, but my big concern now is where we go next.
Yeah, I mean, we go to Lair. You're going to go to Furious pick, and obviously having such a strong start and a strong ending to that match, they're going to feel very comfortable and electric starting on that attacking half. Now, for the side of WBG, they should feel comfortable. They're going to be on defense. Knowing the ins and outs of the maps, the blueprints, is going to be a lot easier in understanding what can happen, what can't happen. And the fact of the matter is they need to be able to double up and play those trades, because if they can, I mean, what we just immediately saw from Furia is they were getting those trades. They were being able to play off one another. They were able to take the man advantage away. So that's what WBG really needs to focus on here, is getting that early pick and then slowing it down, playing into those layers, playing into the crossfires, and forcing Furia's hand, because that's the best way to deal with an aggressive team.
Furia have played it 14 times over the last year and have only lost it twice, whereas Weibo, we haven't seen it since Munich. It's time for us to get underway with map 2.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Indeed, it is Lair. And Tim, I know you've got a particularly scary stat about Furia on this map. You want to share it again, given you shared it earlier on?
Well, in recent history days, they are 8-1. 8 wins to just 1 loss. The loss does come in the middle, so it's not an 8-win streak. But yeah, they are very good on.
And look at who they lost it to as well, Tim.
They lost it to FaZe Clan, the current world champions.
No big deal. Yes, whatever. It's all
Not
cool.
a bit. And also, if I look through the scores, they beat Falcons 7-1. They beat NIP 7-2. They beat Flux OW 7M 7-3. They beat Cyclops 7-2. Like, these are not close games, Des.
No, and obviously the last time that we saw Waybo play this game was against G2 at the Munich Major. They lost it 7-4. Now, G2 are a very good Lair team. They will tell you it's one of their favorite maps to go to, and they love playing there. Maybe it doesn't tell you the full story, and I imagine Waybo expected to be coming into this map, so no doubt Gohan and the boys behind the scenes have been hard at work And they're ready to go Super Saiyan for this game. Let's get into our map bans. Our op bans first, the smoke taken away, along with the Deimos, followed by the chat. Now, that is really spicy. We see a lot of Chanka on this map, but banning away the smoke and the Tachanka means a lot of what would be really, really good plant denial is taken away. You turn towards C4s now instead.
I love that move from Furia.
Me too.
Honestly, did not see that coming. You know, but when you actually take a second to think of the ramifications and the knock-ons and how difficult that is going to make certain positions to hold on to, absolutely love that from them. Is it going to work? I don't know. We'll have to see. If any team can, you know, take advantage of that, you know it's going to be Furia on the attack. But I would immediately be looking towards Mask Wall. The thing is, does it almost telegraph it a little bit? You know, if you're Waybo, you're thinking, right, Mask Wall and Display, we need to be really worried about those two areas. Top mezzanine, you know, that's the side. That's where Furia's attack is likely to come from. Maybe Furia then mix that up and throw it, you know, over to our 6-room side. Who knows? But we'll keep a close eye on exactly where they're shaping up. And given that they've just got rid of the thermite, Herds has switched across onto the ace instead. They've got the hard breach charges on the side of Philippox. Maybe it won't be quite so clear cut. We will have a watch as they get underway. But initially, it does seem very much towards Ops and Mask Wall.
Yeah, I mean, the Grim was taken away from Fury the other day in their game against Falcons, so no surprises there. The Deimos may come as a little bit of a tweak and a change for them. I went back to look at the last time Waybo played this map, actually, and what operators they brought along. They didn't play Smoke once because Chanka was available, and I think Fury are just thinking one step ahead. You ban the Chanka, they'll default to the Smoke. So we ban that away as well. Have they got a third operator in their mind on what to do instead? Maybe the Clash certainly helps towards that, Tim, but I wouldn't be surprised to see if that is the ban that we get at the end of round 3, because then you're starting to run very, very short on options that can take the place of any of those 3 operators.
KZ's gone straight away to deal with the electrification on Mask Wall. He's using the sledge to do so. He's brought along the shotgun, sends up the nade, and is just trying to help clear out for his teammates at the minute. Hoven is playing in that position. Happy is going to take a lot of damage from a nade there as well.
Hertz is down.
Yeah, they need to be careful here, but as you say, the ace has been taken down in the melee, so not too bad a start for Weibo.
And Philippox taking a lot of damage there on trying to get Herds up. They may have to leave him, or he might have to try and crawl outside, but I don't think he wants to fully expose himself. Hoven's going to finish off KZ as well, who was downstairs slightly injured off the back of that. And there's his ball into Philippox. Tim, this has been an absolute stonewall on the ops push.
Yeah, what a performance this has been from Weibo. Given that they've had the Tachanka and the smoke taken away from them, they've had to play this in, you know, a considerably different way to how you would do normally. And despite going below with KZ on the sledge, trying to open, nothing's been opened up. You know, they haven't opened up Mass Wall. They haven't opened the wall from mezzanine through into that plant spot. Weibo have been able to completely deny them. Ape somehow is still alive. He ate most of a grenade, but is still up with the shield intact. I think Weibo win this round, and a good start from them on Lair.
Looking excellent, absolutely. Now, we've said so many times about how it feels like you've got a massive advantage over Furia, and in half a second, that can all transform. It very much can here, and it's going to start to. JV getting one and looking for a second. It's just scary how they can turn it on like this, Tim, at the click of a finger.
It's like I say, you're never far away from them. It feels like Weibo have been in complete control, got all the kills, and then it's still 3v4, and it's still possible. But Speakeasy does manage to take down JV as he swings on into sight. We've got Herds on low health after being collected as well. The Clash Shield doesn't do any damage anymore. It's just slowing, but still, it is going to have that impact of affecting what he wants to do. Reaps is there to pick up nade from Display, and Hoven gets the last. A great defense from Waybo. We've spoken, we've waxed lyrical about their ability on the attack so far at this tournament, and they've just given us a little bit of a top floor masterclass. Love that from Waybo.
Really key, I think, that Ape was still alive to a nose down to a single point of HP or 2 off the back of it, but him being alive just meant that he could step back up to Ops, feed the information on what's going on, and that's when Turd then stepped across and got the shots down onto the Capital for Philippox, so he couldn't get Herds up. Just as we've both said, really well played there in terms of their aggression, denying Fury the ability to barely enter into the map itself, and from there, it all just went from bad to worse, I'm afraid, for the Brazilian side. Well tucked in on towards Philippox, who was in that back corner. Again, you saw the work that was being done by the Clash there to feed that information back and forth.
Okay, then heading into round 2, it's going to be down to the basement that Waybo go. I had a strong feeling that And I said it at the beginning, it's, you know, maybe 2-1 for Waybo. If they're going to get a win, it'll come on Cafe. There's a long way to go on Lair yet, but that first round has got to have given hope. It's given hope to me, let alone all the Weibo fans, that we might just get to see a bit more of this than we expected. But as I say, a long way to go yet. And the problem with Furia is the strength in depth within the team. So they've come in there, and yet that attack hasn't worked, and they've had a bad round, and then they'll just come in and play the next round completely differently. They can just go with a completely different style and a completely different energy and attitude, just round to round to round. As it is, they've got the warehouse wall breached immediately by Herds on the Thermite, so that's giving access into that side. Meanwhile, they're going to be sending Philippox elsewhere with the Blackbeard.
You've got the depth of the players, Tim. I mean, KZ's the one who popped off big time last map. 17-5 he went. Absolutely nuclear. But I was speaking about players like JV who are also able to get into those kind of positions. We've seen it out of Herds many a time over. Been a bit quiet throughout the series, but you don't mind that too much. He's had a little bit of a nemesis, a bit of a rival arc on the go with Reaps on the other side, gagging to kill him in many, many gunfights. But often coming out on the receiving end of a gunshot to the head. I'm afraid it isn't quite ahead in that 1v1 duel, but here it's more the focus on the warehouse itself. Reaps looking to try and be challenging on towards the players entering in, but they have now forced him back. Nade stepping on forward, and they're also making use of the Capital utility to get them moving.
JV is around yellow stairs, manages to get one onto third, but it's not really going to matter for much on the side of Furia as Reaps manages to get the second of 2 kills that come in there from Waybo. So again, they have the advantage. Philippox is able to get himself down into that basement level. He's looking to push forward in towards site, but it looks like Waybo are pretty well set at the minute.
A late reinforced speakeasy. He wants to sit and play in his spot as well, but it's just been deleted by JV. Oh, looked like he was in a great spot there to be able to challenge him, but he's gone swinging for no real reason other than to give his life away. And now things are down to a 3v3. That'll be the kind of mistake that Gohan won't be pleased with.
No, they can't give away that manpower. They've got to take those opportunities to make sure that they stay on top. Philippox and Nade then, they're teamed up together at one side of site. And then it's going to be up to JV92 to maybe make a move. He's up above at the moment. He's going to look to, I think, take a little bit of attention and create a little bit of space so these two can move in. But they are sat waiting, as it is, for JV to get into position.
They've had to just impact one of their own bulletproofs as well because it was hacked away by the Dockerby. It was feeding all the information on what was going on inside of the B site. So they're at least slightly blind now to a backstab if it comes on through. But Homer's going to find one. Down goes Philippox. Good start here as we get into the last 25, Tim. Surely they can hold on.
Great timing and play with the Vulcan canister. JV manages to level it up though. Hoven just showing a little bit too much of himself, and this is what we keep saying, Des. Furia are never done. They're never buried. Nade is going to go in and look to get the plant down, but he doesn't need it because it's JV92 picking up the final kill again. How many times are we going to say that? How many times are we going to see Furia just come back from what looked like unwinnable positions?
It's JV. And I hate to say it, Tim, he didn't really have a choice at the very end of things there, but the prior two players both swung on to him in a 1v1 and paid the price. These are the things that we can't keep on giving away to them. I get it. You want to make your impact. You want to try and disrupt them relatively early on. But if you keep on swinging onto him like that, he'll just keep on taking scores.
Yeah, it's got to feel pretty rough. It's got to feel pretty rough for Waybo here. You've done some great work in the early round, and it just hasn't been enough to get you over the line. They move on anyway. They're not going to go back to the basement this round. It is up to that mid-floor. Bunks and Briefing will be our next site. And Furia, just having a look at their lineup, they've got the Glass, they've got the Dockerby, they've got the Blackbeard. The Glass has been switched out, but otherwise, that's looking like a pretty tough lineup to deal with.
It is, yeah, it is, Tim. At this point, I'm almost like less bothered by the lineup and much more bothered by the fact that we're taking these gunfights into players that we don't need to be. Yeah. But, you know, I can't take it away from JV. He's played that brilliantly well. Won every single challenger that has come his way, despite things starting a little bit chaotically out towards Warehouse. They lost both players inside of there. Had no idea what was going on in that part of the map for a while, and they still managed to recover.
So much patience from JV as well.
Yeah.
He waited for the opportunities to come. He knows that they will present themselves, and he doesn't try to force force it. He doesn't try to, you know, put himself into even more dangerous positions. He's just confident in what he's done, and he waits for his opportunity, and along it comes. For now, he's going to get to work on the external wall with the Maverick.
This is going to be really interesting because you spoke about the attacking lineup a little bit, right? But there's no Sens on side, there's no smokes they can play behind here. So they've very much got to rely on their ability to go in and go deep. They've got to go in and push and kill people off the back of it, Tim. Is that easy to do? Not strictly, not on this side, it's certainly not anyway. So I'm very curious to see what the game plan is going to be. Currently got no one going on that top floor to try and push out the defenders. And I feel like you need top floor control if you aren't planning to smoke and toss down those Sens light screens. I know it's kind of the standard thing that we see, and maybe Furia have cooked up a new evolution towards this site itself, but kills are needed. Here's the one to start things out.
Kurtz goes in with a textbook Ash entry there, just gets aggressive in through that soft wall breach and finds himself the opener. 5 versus 4 with the Aruna out of action now. Reaps losing that DMR off site as well. Not ideal, and that means that Furia can now start posturing to break down this top floor hold. They've got Turd still in there on the mirror. Flashbangs come in. It's not going to have the effect that they might have hoped, and they've got a little bit of intel coming in from that utility.
The thing is, they're so good at pushing at the same time. KZ will not overpeak here until his teammates are ready to join him. They've got a Selma going down onto the wall and towards Turd's room, and in fact, a Tub comes across to keep that locked up a little bit longer. He's going to sit and hold it, Tim. He's got a C4 that he can play behind as well, but now he's going aggressive, looking for Herds around the corner. He's got the right idea, misses his chance to get a freebie, Tim. That's really bad. Turns on for a second, but now he's getting squeezed in, and Furia patience pays off. They get 2 kills. Hoven 1 back, but it's a 1vx, a 1v4 coming out for Hoven on the site. This is not looking pretty.
No, it's that word again, isn't it? Patience. I said JV92 in the last round. It's the whole team this round. Just, you know, they were happy to wait for the Selma charge to detonate. Hoven manages to get one, but Nade is there for the trade. No problem at all. Furia wrap it up, and they're starting to really pick up a bit of pace here on Lair, and Waybo need to be aware of that. They're going to have an opportunity to ban out another operator now, but yeah, patience. Fantastic. Wait for that Selma to detonate. We don't need to push Turd here. We don't need to take those fights with the Vector because we could quickly lose 1 or 2. Just wait for that to detonate. Just hold and we'll get him. And they know that it's coming.
But Turd had the right idea as well.
He did.
You can't stand still when you know they're starting to circle around you like sharks. Like, you have to go and try and fight one of them here. And fighting sharks generally is a terrible idea. Do not try it at home. But he had the right idea. Like I say, he stepped out, went to try and find Herds. Yeah, missed by a matter of milliseconds, really. I think of all the explosions going off around him. A little bit distracted. Didn't manage to find the shot. But if he had, he can then push a little bit deeper. The problem being, Herds was then immediately around the corner to his left. So even if he gets a kill, there is probably a trade coming back the other way. It's, again, just further proof that even when players are doing the right things, like Turd was, Furia are prepared for every single outcome. 2-1 they stand on their map pick. Makes me nervous about how the second half will go. Let's see what they can cook now that we return back to the only site they have lost on this map.
So far at the tournament, Weibo have been very good at trading out the opening kill in terms of, you know, the tournament as a whole compared to other teams. A little bit of a struggle for them today. Again, it's something that I think Gohan picked up on, you know, as he was in the tactical timeout that we saw on the last map, was this, you know, taking fights on your own, make sure you're working together. It's something that we're not really seeing them improve upon. We've only seen them trade out 1 entry death so far today. That was back on Clubhouse round 7. Other than that, every time an entry kill comes in for Furia, there's no response from Waybo. And again, in this map, I said last time, I think it, you know, it was Furia that were on top in terms of those entry duels. This time, it's 2-1 to Furia. They are again taking the lead in grabbing that initiative. And Waybo have got to start hitting those trades. They've got to start working together.
Casey was in quite nice and quick, as you saw there, running in, blasting his way through a barricade and getting in underneath, looking to try and cause some bother a little bit later on. May well take on the role of a buck for a while if needs be, able to get underneath. And here, you're really getting hopeful for a kill here, my friend. Sorry, we were just in the helmet going up, but no, here he goes, marching on forward, looking to do what he can. But there's 2 players, and the C4 comes over, not quite going to find him, but he is down to a fraction of HP.
And somehow it's Happy who dies along the way. All that noise elsewhere, and JV goes in and takes his opportunity. Reaps dies to one of their own traps. No, Reaps, I hope you managed it.
And now he's been flashed out. Speakeasy all alone. KZ's in Speakeasy, finding one, manages to get a second, but there are 4 players swinging him at once. Tim, you don't walk away from that one. You haven't got unlimited ammo. And Furia, that round is over in the blink of an eye.
I'm going to go out on a limb and go so far as to say I think that's the first time in competitive Siege we've seen a Thorn die to their own Razor Bloom.
Very possibly. Well, we're in for a timeout, Tim. Let's take a listen in.
Guys, come on. What's missing is early aggression. Huh? Like on this round, we understand, oh, they are coming main stairs. You guys know, they like to go main stairs, bathroom, art window. So, we need to be prepared and play together. Like, if you're gonna repeat top, put this mira on ops, you know?
Yeah.
Let's start putting more pressure, guys. Early round, we need to control the early round. That is only the problem. And when I have advantages, remember, 2v2, 3v3, wait for the best moment, wait for the plant, wait for the click, you know, playing basement. High chance to repeat the same situation, you know?
Yeah.
We're gonna open some kills, we're gonna bunk, but we need to understand how to play. You guys need to talk more, huh? You guys need to talk more, how to play. Let's go, guys! Let's win this shit, guys!
Let's go.
We can do it! Come on, come on!
Be a red. We can see 4 ops. You want to clear, and then they have to clear you.
I think, again, a little bit similar to, you know, what I was picking up on as well before that, and it was similar to what we heard from Gohan on Clubhouse. You know, a lack of aggression in the early round. I said Furia have been getting these entries. That's now 3 out of 4 that they've picked up. You know, communication, talking to each other, working with each other. They're not trading those deaths. They're not impacting on each other's deaths. You'll see, it's, you know, you'll get Furia, kill, and it'll be 2 or 3 in a row, and they're able to snowball them together. So, yeah, definitely it's something for Waybo to work on. This one is starting to run away from them quickly here, and Furia are the sort of team that you give them any sniff of an opportunity to win a game and they will not pass it by.
We'll go back to round 1. How did they win? Early aggression. They didn't even let Furia in through ops, so let's see if things change after that tack timeout. My only worry is what he said towards the end there. We're not really talking to each other. Things are a bit quiet. That energy can be hard to inject in 45 seconds to get everyone communicating again. I really hope they can. I didn't quite see a lot of energy at the end of it, Tim.
It feels like one of the first times. If you remember coming in, I said Waybo haven't really had a bad day yet. They haven't really, you know, they have been tested. They've had some difficult games. 2 of their wins came in 2-1s. But have we really seen them face losing and being pushed around? Generally, they've been the team on top a lot of the time, and it's just now about seeing how they respond to that.
I always hate singling out individual players, but it has been Ape with a pretty quiet series so far. You know, Hovin's definitely woken up on this map, which is good. Reaps is playing as well as he has been. Speakeasy had a great first map too. But Ape, as I said, has been one of their top players over the last few months. If he stays quiet throughout this series, Tim, they're really going to miss him on the other side because said last map, Casey was 17-5. He's 0-3 now. The disparity between maps always absolutely astounds me. But where he's gone quiet, JV has gone absolutely massive.
Yeah, JV has really stepped up. 10-1. Absolutely terrifying at the minute.
He has 2 separate 4Ks to him in rounds 2 and 4.
He's just right place, right time, constantly. It's like, as you know, any gap, any opportunity, and it's going to be JV that is stood in the right place to take advantage of it. As it is, Casey gets himself inside of the map on the book. He's going to be looking to do a little bit of work underneath. Waybo are defending top floor. Hoven is in position to hold them out of ops, but for the time being, Furia aren't really going near there. They have opened the mask wall, so now it's about where do they shape up for this next push. I think we're going to maybe see a bit of action towards our 6th room, and then maybe a bit of pressure out towards display window. We'll see whether they get anybody on there later in the round.
Imagine trying to get the focus on to get more walls opened up, but from below they're in for this one. Tim and Nate has just ran straight in towards sight and turned quite rightly, puts it in the mud.
Yeah, great response from Waybo there. They've not been caught. Surprised. Nate just tried to get in there with the diffuser and I think just kind of mix it up and see what happens, but it has not panned out well for them. They've lost the Blackbeard and the diffuser is down cold inside of sight. 50 seconds and Furia have got to scramble.
They have more below being opened up as well. KZ really trying to make it so there isn't a single floorboard left. A lot of them being exposed, which means he, of course, can support from below. Before the plant's even down, can pressure those defenders, force them back into less than ideal positions. So I've got 2 or 3 of them now, all sat on top of each other, to be fair, just outside of sight itself. The Furia not in an awful spot here, but seeming relatively unbothered so far. Waybo, they know the clock is about to become the 6th man for them. And Furia, they've got to get something done soon.
Yeah, JV's in that important position again. He's on display window. They really need him to get something going. There's a lot of pressure coming in from the other side. KZ manages to get one. Reaps is there with a response. This is better from Waybo. As we've said, impacting on death, being there to do something. JV gets one, traded out immediately. Waybo, they're playing for each other. They're in contact with each other. Way better from the APAC side.
Real irony is, Tim, it didn't require a lot of early round aggression. They were very dug in and playing very defensively there. More my worry starts to come now on what happens in this next round, because we step away from the site that they've had 2 victories on in this half. The only 2 they have found has been on that top floor. Now we go down to the basement. Truthfully, I don't think there's a lot they need to correct, because they had a brilliant start last time they were down here. 2 kills in Warehouse, they were laughing. The problem was they kept swinging JV. And this is where there's kind of like nuance and context to the word be aggressive in the early round. It's all well and good saying it. That doesn't mean swing one after another onto JV and lose your life doing it.
Yeah, so I'm not really sure. I'm going to watch that round back after the game's finished. I think they were a little bit premature there, Furia, in trying to send Nade in. He just went charging through the door across site. It looked like he was trying to get in behind the plant spot, you know, behind the diffuser for a plant spot with the Blackbeard. But there's still Ape out in display. I'm not certain that JV was even on display window by that point. They just seemed really far ahead of themselves, especially it was like Nade had just decided, I'm going in, boys. We'll see what happens.
It'll be a classic where he spotted a gap and thinks,
yeah, he just thinks, I'm going in there.
But as we saw,
everybody else wasn't ready.
Turd was also still in R6 room with him. It's just like, yeah, okay, pop easy.
Yeah,
get
no
your
problem.
fight, whatever.
They just got ahead of themselves.
Yeah, had the right idea, but again, execution didn't quite come out the way that they wanted. Right, let's get into it. Now down in that basement once more, as said. We've got currently Turd up on the top floor, so looking to waste a good chunk of time, I imagine. May choose to dip away as we start seeing pressure build up on this top floor, but for now, his goal is to try and pull drones and pull players from Furia onto that top floor, force it to lose time, but they don't seem really interested, Tim, because KZ is already asking questions downstairs here, moving a little bit quickly as they find Reaps and may fancy a fast sight hit here. In fact, they're rushing into him, all 5 of them.
Yeah, they're really not messing about here. Nade's managed to pick up the opener, so they kind of smell that blood in the water and continue with that aggression to get that map control, to get that advantage. They have moved forward, but they've hit the brakes a little bit here. Philippox is going to go in to take missile, and then they can continue building from there. Nade just checking the long angle for him as well. Philippox actually just dipped back out, picked up that diffuser, is moving around, but they're paying the price of not doing everything they should here. Furia getting hit from above. Turd managing to find one. Waybo just hitting their stride a little bit now, Des.
It's a bit of a stinger because JV's been sat on drones now for ages, just running around that top floor, feeding information back to his team on where Turd is, and he's still got away with a freebie. It is why he's low HP. He just happened to win out the gunfight. They were aware of him, but he has come out on top.
Turd's going to make his way back down yellow stairs and into sight, so that is a good result, really, for Waybo there. Ape manages to get one, Hogan doubles down, and another one onto Philippox, and again, Waybo by just playing that little bit tighter. As you said, they are in a position to be able to help each other, to be able to contribute when those attacks come in, to make Furia be put into lose-lose situations. 2 versus 4 now.
Got to try and recover this somehow inside the last 60, Tim. They've got a lot of utility they can work with, especially in Nade's back pocket. But you're seeing that discipline from Waybo. Only slight thing I'm wary of is Ape is probably ready to swing in on this one. Will he take the bait and try and swing onto KZ? No, not at this point. They've still got Yokais dancing around too, so they should know where Nade is. They know where KZ is. With all that information, they've got no reason they should be losing this round.
No, none whatsoever. Nade manages to get one, but again, Waybo have an answer of their own with Ape onto KZ. So Nade, he is full health. Only got 28 seconds, and he's 1v3. Can't get any of it done. Ape is going to close that one out, and that is another round for Waybo. 3-3 split there is actually pretty good.
I think you'll take that. Given you were down 3-1, you'd be thinking, God, this could be bruised, and we could be down 5-1 at the end of this half. But no, really good recovery across those last 2 and showing that they can indeed defend down in that basement. Tim, get the win over the line. If we'd looked at any 2 other teams playing on this map and said, okay, 3-3 half, what would we say? We'd say that's pretty fair, because Lair is our second most attacker-sided map. I don't think it's a massive complaint that things are stacked up how they have. Now, into our bands, Tim, are we going to get Chanka and Smoke? Are we getting a mirror on the other side? Not literally a mirror, a mirror.
I'm going to say, you can't ban 3, Des, not at this point. You've got to wait for round 4 there. No, we will have the Deimos come in alongside the Kaid. So, they are looking, yes, to take the Tachanka away, much for the same reasons as we discussed previously. Tachanka becoming a real mainstay, particularly of that top floor defence, looking to hold off the plant on mask wall, play in behind the desk. risk. Smoke will be available for that. Also, Flash will be available as well. We've seen some real big performances in behind that desk from Hot and Cold. It always stands out to me on the Clash. This time it's going to be for Leapox, and I think we might see him in a similar sort of area. But yeah, Furia taking us up to the top floor to begin with. Waybo, I'd love him to send a message here and get the first attack. That really does then put it in the mixer.
This could be very interesting indeed. I mean, starting out with the Glass. We've seen this banned away against Furia already today. The Death spoke about it in our previous series, that a Glass ban was targeted in against for Leapox. Of course, from the reverse side here as well, Furia opted not to ban it away, which means Hobbit will jump straight onto it and Speakeasy, Horror of Horrors Tim, is going to set up on the Blackbeard. It'll be that and Monty, I imagine, for the majority of the half from him. Otherwise, a lot of vertical control maybe coming from Reaps here, looking to get underneath on the buck in the same way that KZ did, rip up those floorboards and force those defenders to dance around a little bit. Play the floor as lava.
Herds is in a really advanced position, I will call it, inside of Ops here. He's got himself a little Kiba barricade fort set up, so he's covered from the window and the door, but he can be aggressive. Straight away, they've opened it up. It was Ape with the nade. He's actually moved across to look at Skybridge as well, but Turd is over that side of the map as well. I think they're going to want to get Ops, but Philippox is also supporting Herds. It's definitely going to be a flashpoint, I think.
Yeah, we've seen this kind of hold quite commonly. Sometimes you'll even see a mirror placed on that Ops wallway just to help give support towards the Azami. But now no one's challenging there, though. For the most part, Waybo have ignored it, Tim. They've moved towards the north side. They're pushing towards green.
Yeah, they've decided they don't want any part of what's going on there. Ooh, the Razor Bloom doing some big damage. No, it didn't. No. It just...
it tickled him.
I'm going to say, yeah, Speakeasy just managed to keep himself safe behind that shield, but they have been
like it did big damage.
It really did, didn't it? The animation's great. Like, made me feel like, he's done something. They've been backed up quite well by the smoke, though. The Toxic Babe canister has just prevented Hoven pushing in when he deployed his own smoke. So Furia aware of where the pressure's coming from and holding it off quite well at the minute.
There's three of them all gathered together here, just trying to watch out for Reaps, who's underneath them right now. He can do so much damage towards Philippox, but no! Reaps put down on his backside here, Tim, and a doubting be recovered unless someone is prepared to push down green and go and get him up. But no, KZ through the floor finishes him off, and that is a lot of threat and a lot of pressure removed away from Furia.
Yeah, I think that's a good commitment to the kill there from KZ, dropping down the hatch. Yes, it leaves his team short-handed for a little bit, but it means that that book is not going to come back online, and it is the last thing they needed was that skeleton key opening up beneath them. KZ has the shotgun himself, so if anything, he can play this vertically now from beneath. I like that from Furia. Nice adaptation in the middle of the round. 1 minute left to go, and it looks like Waybo are on a little bit of a rotate, a little bit of an attempt to try and deal with KZ below. It's Turd who picks him up. He was supported by Hoven down there, but my big question is, will this now cause a time crunch for them?
Given there's a clash on the other side still, Tim, I think it will. And we've got the C4 in Nade's back pocket. They've got a lot of tools to get the job done, but equally so do Waybo. Still a full inventory of utility available to Turd here. Going to start making use of it to give them at least some angle in. Speakeasy trying to eye up here what an execute looks like, but no, Ope falling down to Nade. Things going from bad to worse here as Furia now have the man advantage.
Yeah, it's all coming down now to this one-dimensional push, and they're just feeding into the meat grinder of Furia right now. Philippox manages to pick up one, but Turd, he bites back with one of his own. 10 seconds left to go. Diffuser collected, but effectively now, a 1 versus 3 cut down by, I think it was Herds who got the final kill on the door. And that's going to be Furia taking their first defense. All they need to do, Des, to win this out and take themselves guaranteed to the live event is to just get their first and second choice sites. The third is a bonus, but if they can get top floor and basement twice over, Furia do the job.
Giving themselves that 4-2 would be the dream split, Tim. See if they get there. Let's not forget as well, the team that will be waiting them if they do go through to those upper bracket semis will be the winner of Secret versus Falcons. That'll be one hell. You imagine Falcons versus Furia at this stage in the tournament? Or versus Secret, as you said many a time, have really come on a tear over the last year or so, winning out AWC, really showing us all what it is they're made of. That'll be an incredible game to see. But they've got to get there first. As you say, it's looking good with how things have started in the half, but there's still more to do.
I think losing Reeps.
That's so nice, by the way.
Losing Reeps underneath in that round, it felt like it really hurt Waybo, because when you look at the end of the round particularly, Furia were all set in their positions. There wasn't really a lot of disruption.
That's it.
There wasn't a lot of disruption, and they could just hold those angles, and you just feel like maybe if that butt could have, you know, stayed alive and done a little bit more work through the round in ripping up those floorboards beneath those safe positions, it might have had things, you know, go a little bit differently. He might have had the option to come up mezzanine, for example, and put pressure onto Herds in display and just try and split that Furia attention a little bit. And that's why that kill from KZ was so important. But let's look to the now. It's round 8. Furia 4-3, 1 map to the good, and 3 rounds away from securing themselves a spot at the live finals here in Paris.
All right, into the basement we go for round 8. Again, I said you're going to see a lot of shields this half from Speakeasy, Monty, Blitz. That'll be all he really sits on. It was Blackbeard in the previous round. Maybe he'll do us a full triple, Tim, and we'll get to see all 3, but maybe one gets banned away once we get towards the end of round 3. On the other side of things, it's leaning again in towards these trap ops. We're seeing the Ella on side, we're seeing the Thorn coming out, the Goyo and the Echo to slow things down. They're ready for them, Tim, no matter what they've got in mind.
Yeah, interestingly, absolutely no roam really coming out of Furia here. They're happy to just play this on site. Herds is the only one. He's kind of in and out. He's looking onto blue stairs. He's kind of come back now. He's found himself in sight, so he's actually switched with Philippox, who on the Warden has moved out there and decided he's the one to hold it. I think probably on the call with the Blitz maybe, has just left them to rotate that. So Philippox is going to be the only one outside. We've got Speakeasy taking a little bit of damage along the way there. That might just back him up a bit. And he's also got, of course, what sounds like a pre-placed Nitro.
It's above his head. Yeah. Just to scare him back a little bit, you know, okay, we can pop it any time. They can't shoot it because it's around the corner. It's actually a really nicely placed C4. Philippox getting rid of Speakeasy. It's again seeing the shield player take a lot of damage early on has then resulted in his death. They really need him alive for later in the round.
Philippox is just so good. Continues to fight. Picks up another onto Turd. Reaps with a double, though. Manages to clear Philippox out, but the damage was largely done. 3 versus 3. 45 seconds left to go. And keep your eye on Nade. He's on the Echo. Still in a position to be able to deny should this plant start to go down.
He must know that they're seeing his drone there. He's got to move it away somewhere else, and they'll know that it's being ratted into a corner somewhere inside of here just to help disrupt. Of course, no longer useful for the shield break as the Blitz is dead, but the information that it provides could be invaluable. Waybo have got 20 seconds to work with, Tim. This ain't a lot of time, but Ape's ready. Utility coming on out. They've got plans in mind.
Yep, Hoven's going to find JV92. Great start. Managed to get away from the Razor Bloom as well. Ape's putting the diffuser down. It's all up to Nade. 8 seconds left to go. He just needs to time this right, but he loses the drone. They've got an opportunity to go again. He was just a bit too soon, and they were a little bit too quick for him. Waybo get in there with enough time to get the job done, and they grab an attacking round to level things up. 4-4.
Good job, guys.
You never guessed that Reaps had just hit a 3K there to basically drag that round over the line for them in what could have otherwise been absolute calamity. But he has, and everything is pulled square. All is forgiven. All you said, Tim, was they had to win the primary and the secondary. They couldn't do the secondary. Can they do the tertiary? Because this could be what defines which way Lair goes.
Yeah, this just became really, really interesting now, because as you say, if they get first and second choice, if they just hold on to top floor and basement, Furia are good. They cruise home with a 7-5 win on map 2, but that might not be the case anymore. They're going to bunks and briefing after Waybo take away the basement. So all eyes go to the top floor, Des. The first question, how many do Furia play up there? How much do they commit above? Do they go with 4 up top? Sometimes we'll see other teams maybe just with 2. We'll see how much they want to hold on to this. And Waybo, what do you do about it?
On their side, Tim, it's actually very similar to what we saw from Furia. They're not bringing along the Sens, they're not looking for crazy vertical control with the operators they've brought here. There's no ram, there's no bot, there's no sledge. Both teams taking, dare I say, slightly alternate approaches towards attacking this site. Can't bolt them for it, but they're going to have to work a little bit of magic. Also no hard breach to get that green wall open, while the main wall opened up in towards site itself, even with the being a Cade on side to keep it closed and locked up tight. So I do expect there'll be a little bit of an exchange going on early on. Speakeasy, again, I really need to see him in these early rounds not be going down so early. In round 7, he wasn't the entry, but he did die quite early on because he took so much damage, he really couldn't fulfill his role really on the shield. So this round's got to be different.
Nerd is just going to back up KZ there, but it means that he knows somebody is down at that main door. Needs to be careful because it is Speakeasy on the Blackbeard, so he's not going to get himself necessarily an easy challenge there. But of course, being the Ella, depending on where those Smart Mines are, there might be an opportunity just to get that shield break animation out and do a bit of damage, but I don't think they're going to come head-to-head just yet. But my question has been answered. There is 5. All 5, Des, of Furia are up on the top floor, so I think you can call that committing to the top floor hold.
I think you can, Tim. They could probably commit a little bit more. There's literally no way they can do that, no. I think for a second there you saw the dance around front door from the Blackbeard. He's tossed both nades up super quickly and forced KZ, not even back, but to actually swing, expecting him to push really aggressively and then didn't. So I'm kind of already asking questions like, Speakeasy, what are we looking for there? You've used all your utility and gained nothing for it.
Well, this is it. I'm looking at the positioning of everybody now. We're a minute and a half into the round and Waybo are 4 of them inside ops. They haven't really made any progress across this top floor. It's not the end of the world. You don't need to rush, but you do need to make sure that you've got time at the end of the round. Ape picks up JV, Hurts onto Speakeasy. That is the Blackbeard gone. Not ideal for Waybo.
It's the same thing again, but now we've got Ape coming in the back as well. He's just hopped inside bathroom window while the rest try and push their way forwards, and they've got the kills they need. Tim Mez is theirs. They've got rid of Hurts in behind the desk. Hoven's in a great spot. They can look for a plant here on mass wall without even having to open it, Tim.
Waybo are really starting to prove why they are the #1 attacking team in the world. They get in that top floor control. They just need to think about sight now. Is it possible for Furia to hold on from above? Can they cover the angles? Because Waybo, with 30 seconds left to go, have got a choice. Do they go for kills on top floor, or do they drop underneath and try to put the diffuser down?
But now they're staying upstairs, Tim, and the problem is they're a little bit split on the side of Weibo. Some have dropped, some have carried on. What's going on here, Tim? They've managed to lose the 1, and that is a real car crash situation. Arpe's done a real good job pushing in on this backside, but now he's left in a 1v1 against Philippe, who has got the door. Nades coming over for an assist too. Turns off by himself here, looking for sight. It just feels like they've gone in different directions, Tim, and they could well pay the price for it.
But this plant might just stick. Turd manages, no, he does not. So I was going to say he gets back onto his gun, but Philippe was well aware again. He's big-brained it. He knew that the plant was going down. Drops the hatch, picks up the final kill. I thought for 90% of that round that it was going to Waybo. I feel like the split that they made partway through is kind of like, right, 2 go below and plant, 2 stay above and challenge. I feel like maybe there's an opportunity there to say, you know what, we've got a minute left in this round. We are 4v2 up here. Let's just take the fights.
That's the call that you often make as a team, right? Are we going for plant or are we going for kills? And normally everyone commits towards one or the other. I don't fault them for what they've gone for there.
Look, you've got to make a choice.
2 of you apply a bit of pressure. We'll go and focus on getting the plant down and make sure there's a bit of cover. This will be easy. But the problem is the timing in which those things were done is where the issue existed. There was no pressure in towards R6 room. They had the verticals onto Reach trying to push in towards sight along with Turd, and everything just started falling apart from there. Really well played by Furia to yet again, Tim. We've said it so many times today and throughout groups, to win what looks like an unwinnable situation. These guys just do not know when they are beaten.
I think there's an element where you have to kind of allow for that Furia factor, don't you? You know, you can say, right, yeah, we can just keep them busy, 2v2 up here, you go and plant, but you have to allow for that Furia factor that they could just hit a couple of shots here really quickly. Yeah. And, you know, what is the upshot of that going to be? But look, you know, like you say, it's no criticism to Waybo. Hindsight's 2020. We can see here, I've got a perfect top-down view of everything. You know, you can see what's going on. It's just the other option there was to chase those kills. And in a 4v2, maybe they come away with it, maybe they don't. As I say, you've got that Furia factor, and I wouldn't put it past, you know, the remaining players there. What a beautiful shot! Hits him on the reverse. Sit down, Herds. 5 versus 1.
Herds has been kept pretty quiet by the majority of Waybo throughout this series so far. I spoke about the rivalry that started forming back on Clubhouse. Well, here it's carrying on. 5-9 he currently sits at. But as I've said already back on Clubhouse, his role hasn't been to be this out-and-out fragger in the way that JV and KZ has. His job is to be annoying, to frustrate the side of Waybo. In this round, he will not get the chance to do that on the Azami. Him being picked off probably means that Ops is now much easier to push into.
Swapping mag. Drone up.
Ape is just going to be following Speakeasy through into Ops for the time being. I like this. It's quick progress coming in, but they need to be aware. They've got KZ underneath on the Solus. They are aware. KZ's going to be taken out by Hoven as well. Much better round from Waybo. 5 versus 3, a minute 50 on the board. Don't want to see them rush this. There's really no reason. Back on the drones, start ticking boxes, taking ground. You don't need to get sucked into big gunfights now.
Let's remember last round. We were 4v2, we had a 2-man advantage, and we managed to let Furia back into the game. That cannot happen. It simply cannot be a thing. Otherwise, you're at 6-4. The series feels like it's done. The mental will break. They will struggle to fight their way back in. It'll be as good as over. If they win this one, we're guaranteed all 12 rounds of regulation. They should be able to get it done. Your shield player's on full HP. You've got all the resources you need to see this one over the line.
Just waiting for it to come around the corner. Yes, they do. That's just going to back up Nade. Can he deal with the situation?
Oh, no.
There was a second there, I thought Nade was coming away with a double, but as always, Furia keep themselves in touch. JV manages to pick up Ape, but Waybo still in the driving seat. Speakeasy has diffuser in hand, full HP almost on the Monte. 50 seconds left to go. I still back the APAC team for this round.
They've got time here, Tim. I thought Philippox might fancy running up towards that one. Tries to take for the headshot, but misses it out. Speakeasy will get away with this one. The shield can go back up, but they're pushing in deep. Tim, he has to come off the diffuser. They've tried twice to plant, and not again! Not again! They crumble, as they did in the previous round, and with that, Furia are up to map and series points.
When Weibo look back at this one, Des, that is going to be one of the rounds. That is going to be one of the rounds. As I said, Furia, they are always in touch. They're always there, breathing down your neck. But in a 3v2 with a Monte, with that plant 90% of the way down, JV does something really smart. He throws that gadget in there and it just disrupts what's going on. He sends in... He sends in the Gusmot mine and it just disrupts the situation. I'm not sure. We'd have to watch. I'm not sure if it triggered at the time or if it was just enough that it came in. I've got to get off this. What's going on? I'm being chased down. But JV just played that brilliantly.
They say the best things come in threes, Tim, and that is JV's third 4K of the map. It was KZ at 17 and 5 back on club. JV wanting to make sure his name stays in the conversation, is at 16 and 5. And I'm with you. Waybo will look back at this game later ahead of their game in the lower bracket, and there'll be so many rounds they look at and say, we should not have lost that. Both on attack and defense, things have just gone horribly wrong that should be avoided.
The Furia factor, Des. It is the Furia factor. They will, given any opportunity, and sometimes not even given an opportunity, they will find an answer, and they continue to do so. They've just looked phenomenal today. This is the best I've seen them at the tournament so far, and it is no surprise that they've now got themselves 2 match point opportunities to close this out 2-0. Waybo, you know, I wouldn't feel negative about this. You've just come up against, you've been furiated. You know, it happens, but like you say, a couple of rounds that maybe they will look back on. And
I always say, different. When a player goes 1vx, in this case it was 2v5, when you're in that position and you lose it out, you're the one giving the 2 players the opportunity to clutch up big. And I think they will probably look back on this pretty hard, but I digress. That may well not be a thing they have to do if they can get this map over the line still. As you say, it's 2 chances. The good news is they've looked close. Across both rounds, it has been winnable. This map could have been all but over already. It could have been 6-4 to Waybo.
I still think the Waybo we've seen today would have beaten other teams. Yeah. I think the Waybo we've seen today would have had different results against other teams. It just doesn't help that it's against Furia. They've got themselves the opener. Herds has managed to pick that up. Reaps is taken down. That's going to be the sledge off the board. Not ideal when you're trying to attack onto basement. They would have been looking for some verticality there. Speakeasy's taken a little bit of damage. We saw Philippox playing this. He got 2 kills up there last time. You know, they cannot allow that to happen again. They need Speakeasy for that execution, really.
All right, so what are we going for here? Of course, got turned on the Thatcher with that cannon. Can disable it off. I like this, actually. This is a good respawn. Never mind. I didn't say anything, Tim. Carry on.
Look, no, you were right, Des. It was really well played. Bringing the Thatcher along to deal with that, because that held him up last time. So bringing that along to deal with that, to take that Nitro out of the running, was a great idea. Unfortunately for Leapox,
Bro.
he got 2 kills last time, he got 2 kills this time. Look, Leapox is a bit of a king on blue stairs, that much is clear. 4 versus 2 now, and Furia look like all they need to do is just hold on for 40 seconds, and they will have this one done. They're just going to start locking it down. They won't take fights that they don't need to. Hertz manages to pick up one onto Hoban, and that is it. Waybo, a fan favourite so far through Six Invitational, drop down to the lower bracket, and Furia, they continue to stake their claim for being the best team in the world, for lifting that hammer again. They've got themselves through to the live finals.
If this is the start of Furia's reign, and long may it continue. They have played some phenomenal Siege today. 2-0 Heretics, 2-0 here over Waybo, and they've looked brilliant across both series, Tim. Don't get me wrong, room for improvement in places, but I think the way that they've gone about it, the multi-kills they've collected, the big clutches they've had, the unbelievable executes they've pulled off into 3v1s and the like has been absolutely outstanding, and I can't wait to see how they face off against Falcons or Secret when it comes down to